What's up, Front Yard family? Jay here. Talk a little bit about the Atlanta Falcons for the upcoming season. I've got three players for you: a sleeper, a breakout, and a bust. First one up is going to be the sleeper. And for me, that's going to be the 8th overall pick in this most recent draft, Drake London. 6'4", 213 pounds. The man's a beast. He's an athletic freak, big-bodied receiver. Fantasy Pros, he's currently going as the wide receiver 41 off the board. That is practically free. Going around the same place as guys like Robert Woods, James Robinson, Michael Carter, Tyler Lockett. I would take Drake London over all these guys, and let me tell you why. A lot of people have reservations with Marcus Mariota under center for the Falcons this season, but I think that's actually going to be a good thing for Drake London. There's really nobody behind him. Guys like Brian Edwards, Auden Tate, there's nothing behind him in the wide receiver depth chart. And when Marcus Mariota was the starter for the Titans, he really hyper-targeted his top two options with tight end and wide receiver 1. In 2016, Rashard Matthews was a wide receiver 2 season, 22% target share. In 2017, he had an 18% target share. In 2018, Corey Davis had a 26.5% target share. It's a high-end wide receiver 3, so you can expect Drake London to be fed early and often. We all know that volume is king when it comes to fantasy. I expect Drake London to get a ton of it this season. Last season's wide receiver 1, Russell Gage, is gone to Tampa Bay. He had a 17% target share. Earlier in the season, Cordero Patterson was really involved. But as the season went on, it really became the Russell Gage and Kyle Pitts show. Over the last 3 games of the season for the Falcons, Kyle Pitts and Russell Gage made up for over 50% of the targets on the Falcons. Russell Gage had a 31.1 target share. While I don't think it's going to be that extreme, it just goes to show you there's really not much on this depth chart from a receiving perspective other than Kyle Pitts and Drake London. We saw in his junior season at USC, Drake London can be the man. Some people talk about his separation. I think that's way overblown. He had 88 receptions, 1,084 reception yards, 7 touchdowns, and a 24.8% target share. And that was in 8 games. He led the nation in contested catches with 17, and he had 22 missed tackles forced, which was top 10 in the nation. He's a big target, a huge red zone threat. I think he's really going to be involved in this offense early and often. I think Mariota is going to hyper-target Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Drake London's practically free. Low risk, high reward. For my breakout, I bet you guys can all guess who's coming. One, Mr. Kyle Pitts. Yes, the 4th overall pick in the 2021 draft. A lot of people was so hype up last season. He had a good year, but everybody was disappointed because they expected him to be a Hall of Famer, tight end 1 right off the bat. He was only the 2nd rookie tight end in NFL history. The only one before him was Mike Ditka to have 1,000 receiving yards in his first year. What more could you want from the guy? Yes, he only had 1 receiving touchdown. That would have been a lot nicer if he would have had just a few more. But 110 targets, 68 catches, 1,026 receiving yards. He was tight end 6 on the year, tight end 11 in points per game. He had a 20% target share, which was 3rd highest among tight ends, 5th most targets in the entire NFL. A lot's going to be said about Kyle Pitts only having 1 receiving touchdown, but the Falcons were tied for the 5th fewest passing touchdowns in the entire NFL. And just like I was talking about with Drake London, Marcus Mariota, when he was a starter in Tennessee, he made Delanie Walker a stud. Delanie Walker had a 25% target share in 2015, 21% target share in 2016, 23% target share in 2017. Walker was tight end 6 and tight end 7 in 2016 and 2017, respectively. Kyle Pitts is an athletic freak. I think he's going to be the top pass-catching option in this offense. Talked about it earlier. I love Drake London. I think he's going to be getting a lot of volume as well. But we've seen from Marcus Mariota how much he loves to go to his tight ends. I think this offense is going to be improved with Mariota versus Matt Ryan last season. Kyle Pitts, all he has to do is get a few more touchdowns, which I definitely think is going to happen this year. There's no way he's going to finish with just a touchdown. I think it's easily within the realm of possibility of Kyle Pitts finishing as the tight end 1 on the season. He's a top 3 option for me, and I am more than happy to take him where he's going. The bust for me for the Atlanta Falcons is going to be Cordero Patterson. And yes, he was a waiver wire savior last season. He was on a lot of championship teams. He was a perfect target for your 0 RB truthers, but don't pay for last year's production. I don't believe he's going to be able to reproduce that. He's a 10-year veteran who had his best season at age 30. Yes, he's involved in the passing game somewhat, but towards the end of the season, especially on the ground, they really stopped using him. He had 618 yards rushing, but over the final 4 games, he only had 71 total rushing yards with an average yards per carry of 2.3. He more than doubled his career high of touches in a season. He had 205. Previously, his high was 85. You're paying for last year's production. He's going ahead of guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Chase Edmonds, heck, even Melvin Gordon. I take the upside of a James Cook over Cordero Patterson. Yes, last year he was a great value because he was free. He is off my draft board. I would not be surprised to see Tyler Algier take control of this backfield. Marcus Mariota is a capable running quarterback. 2 more guys that are going to eat away at his work. That's going to be it for Sleeper Breakout Bust for the Atlanta Falcons. Before you go, make sure you spike that like, subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more content coming for you. You can follow me on Twitter at GManJ. Feel free to shoot me a DM or tweet at me with any questions you might have.